fishy? Man, that was a big tail wag. Better size gill. Holy cow. Well, hey guys, glad to see you. Thanks for stopping in. Caught me working on my slip floats and the slip float setups. And I like to run through them with you. I've been asked a few times, so I thought I'd go ahead and do it right now. Slip float season is fading away. Well, actually, I slip float actively till probably the middle to the end of October, depending on the weather. The warmer it is, like the peak of summer, the better this system performs. So I like to go through the components first, starting from rod, reel, and line, and then work my way down to the leader. Now the leader is composed of a 10-foot section of braid, a slip float knot, a bead, the slip float itself, a split shot, in this case it's 2 gram, and a circle hook. I've really been using the heck out of circle hooks, so I might as well, I'm switching them all out. I'm getting almost 100% hookups. Reel back to set the hook, and I got a solid hook set. I've been actively using slip floats for panfish since 2015. Regularly, religiously. I want to say religiously. I caught many master anglers on it. If you do a Google search, it is the #1 method to go after bluegill. Hands down. If I remember correctly, it's micro jig after that, and then drop shot. So let's go through the components, and then we'll go through how to put it all together, including the knots, the size of the weight, what determines the size of the weight, what materials I use for the slip float knot, and I got a hidden secret nobody else knows, and what I do for the slip float bead. Now, I've had problems with beads in the past, swallowing the knot, and then you're messed up out on the water. So yeah, the hole ends up being too big. Yeah, and it varies from manufacturer to manufacturer. So I have a fault-proof method of making your own bead from normal materials around the house. 2 sources of materials. So we'll go through that. So the next step is to go through the components first. Name them all. The sizes and everything else. Then we'll put it together. So let's go. So what we got here in front of us is my 5.5 foot setup with the 1000 series reel. It's a Shimano, very economical reel. This reel retails for $14.99 at my local supplier. I love this reel. I've been using styles of reels such as this from Shimano since the 1980s. So it's a 1000 series reel. Put your favorite reel on it. Get a 5.5 foot. Now I like everything from 5.5 foot to 6 foot, with 5.5 being the sweet spot in the middle. I'm not kidding you. I love the 5.5 footer. So this particular rod is a Featherlight, Eagle Claw Featherlight, 5.5 foot, ultralight action. And I have it loaded, the reel loaded with 6-pound Cast King braid. So that is the specifics of the rod, reel, and line. Now, the next major segment of this system is the whole rest of the components on a 10-foot long leader. Now, the leader is composed of the same mainline braid, 6 pound. It's thin, and when you put it on a leader, you can take it off your rod and reel combination at any point, wind it up on a winder, kite winder, and switch out to a micro jig system if you want. But I put it on a 10-foot leader because it's easier to repair and replace even out in the water. So 10 foot of 6 pound braid. Then there's a slip float knot. Now what I use is 40 pound braid. I tie my own. Cut off a segment of 40 pound braid. Make a uni knot with about 8 twists. More twists, the tighter the knot can be, more snug. Now I install it first on the main line, on the leader line. Then comes the bead, and we'll get into the bead composition a little later. Right now we're just putting everything in order, identifying all the components. And here is your slip float of choice. I have a tail fin on here. It's new to me. I really like it. It's very visible. When I have it balanced to where the orange meets the chartreuse, it's very, very sensitive. A small bluegill will take this float down. Then I have a 2-gram split shot to balance it, pretty close to that orange line. Then at the very business end of it is a circle hook, and in this case I have a number 8. I got a waxy right here, a gulp waxy, my favorite hands down bait. So now that we got all the components identified, what we're going to do is put them all together in sequence, step by step, A to Z. Okay, let's go. So the first step is cutting off a section of a 6 pound braid for our leader. What we're going to do is we're going to leave it on the spool. I'm going to start building it at this end, starting with the slip float knot. As you can see, it's spider wire, 6 pound braid. Yeah, for the slip float knot, I use 40 or 50 pound braid. I like it in bright yellow so I visibly can see it. So we already cut off a section for our knot. Next step is to tie it on the end of the leader material. And for this knot, we're going to use, for a slip float knot, for a slip float knot, we are going to use a uni knot with like 7 to 8 twists. And we'll go through that knot right now. When cinching this knot, try to keep it neat. So it coils smoothly. And you have most of the control here on the left hand side, to cinch it. But keep it spread out. Oh. Get those coils on evenly. So that was pretty good. Tighten it up. Get those coils tight. Tightness is key. Then you just simply trim off the tag ends. I leave a little bit for visibility. Yeah, once you break in this knot, within probably a half an hour of fishing, it becomes smoother going through the guides. Very, very smooth. So we just clip it off. Now we got a knot in there to firmly go up and down the leader. It holds pretty good. It holds better than the yarn ones that you buy against this very, very thin braid. Now if you're using 4-pound test mono, you have no problem cinching onto a mono line. But braid is firm, it doesn't compress. It feels a little bit irregular in texture, so it does provide a little grip that way. But a knot like this, I've had last 2 seasons. 2 seasons of use. For sure 1. So for the next step, we're going to install our bead. Now there's different ways you could go. You could buy the commercially available ones. And the problem I have with that is the thinner you go with the line and you use commercial slip float knots, sometimes that knot will get swallowed up into the bead and get stuck or slide into the float, and then your slip float system is disabled out in the water when you should be fishing. So I came up with, since I couldn't be satisfied with purchasing beads that don't work from one purchase to the next, does anybody recognize this? It should look familiar to you. Okay, here's one of the sources for my bead. As I cut a little section off of here. Got this little tiny hole in it. It hasn't failed me yet. Every single float that I own, this stop works with my knot. Like I said, I'm using 6-pound braid, which is like the equivalent of 1-pound monofilament. So you have to consider that. I'm not even sure if monofilament will go through that knot because the hole is so tiny. Now here's my second source. It's 16 gauge wire. And what I do is I clip this wire right here, strip it from the copper, and I end up with a little section like this. And it's got a little bit bigger hole. A little bit bigger hole than a WD-40 can provides. So this is my favorite so far, because I run out of length on the WD-40 cans. So yeah, a section of wire like this. I had, a spool in the garage. You could buy it by the foot at Home Depot. 2 foot should last you more than a handful of seasons. To go through this quickly here, this is 16 gauge wire. I'm going to use a 16 gauge cutter. Here it is, 16 gauge, and I'm going to strip off like 1/4 of an inch. I would be doing it closer to the table, but I stripped off 1/4 of an inch. In fact, I like the slip float length of the bead about 3/16 of an inch. So I trimmed that off a little bit more, and there I got a bead ready to go. Out of all the floats that I use, this works for every single one of them with 6-pound line. No problem. And it should be able to take up to 6-pound mono, I would think. So now we got our bead installed. Right underneath our slip float knot. Now what's next is the float selection. So I got my float selected. It's tail fin. That's what I got on the other rod. For demonstration purpose, I'm going to use the same thing. And feed the line through. Now I got my my knot and bead stopping, actually just stopping the float from going up the line. So we got that through. Now we're ready for the split shot. And I know this float takes about 1.5 grams to get it to the orange line. Now it's going to require less to get to this equator. And I really like it at the orange. It's highly visible. I could put less and get it to the white line. I think that's what it's designed for. But you can adjust it anywhere in between. I like it right about there. And it balances perfect with the 1.5 gram. I'm not sure the split shot size, since companies vary in weight and size labels. So 1.5 grams, that's what we'll shoot for. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I didn't want to take everyone through the process of showing a uni knot to this small number 8 circle hook. I tried tying it under the camera, I couldn't do it. And just that 1.44 gram split shot, I mean, that's all we had left to do. It's pretty self-explanatory. So that's pretty much a wrap, guys. I hope I didn't sound too much like your 7th grade political science teacher. So you got through it if you got this far, so that's pretty good. One thing we have left to do is exercise it. Put it out on the lake, take some video, show how it performs, what you can expect, what it looks like on the water. But hey, thanks for watching, thanks for viewing, I really appreciate it. See you on the next one.